Boom, boom. Happy Halloween, Matt.
All Hallows Eve. Happy All Saints Day.
Queen of All Saints. Back in the day, they were a powerhouse in the Chicago Catholic League North.
There you go.
Grade school division. Queen of All Saints. Matt, so much to get to. It's a Friday. First of all, happy Friday. Everybody's working for the weekend. Please be a profit taker, right? Don't be a hodler. Be a profit taker so you can enjoy your weekends.
Well, 8% up for October. It's a pretty darn good October for the SPOOs. NASDAQ's up even more, et cetera, et cetera. The same old story continues.
All right, Matt, before we get to things, first things first, Halloween costume ideas. There's this guy I knew rocked a great mustache back in the day. Super simple, Bobacado here. Avocado. If you got a prestigious gut like this fine young man, super simple, bulletproof. Just for your viewing pleasure.
Avocado.
The Bobacado, an instant winner. Everybody loves the Bobacado. All right, Matt. This I saw. FSAI warns of cannabis and sweets ahead of Halloween. That is the Food and Safety Authority of Ireland. Let's catch a flight, Matt. Gummies for everyone. Get the kids wicked baked, and I can't imagine that a few gummies don't get distributed that aren't supposed to be distributed on Halloween with the gummies. I know there'll be trick-or-treating, maybe not in your alley. That's strictly for chickens and roosters and fowl.
Yeah, we had a little murder yesterday.
Believe me, Don Lemon's going to come cover it, I think. By the way, how about the lemon in the chicken piquant last night? Let's just talk about the game. How about that game?
The game was great.
I've never been so disappointed in my life. Arizona Cardinals, they snatched fucking defeat right out of the jaws of victory right there at the end. Beautifully done.
You got any good pictures of Aaron Rodgers, fist pumping after that ridiculous interception?
He knew he was wrong. They knew that the ego got involved. I don't know. All right, man, let's check in on some history here. Because we all need somebody to aspire to. And Joe Biden doing a great job aspiring to Jimmy Carter. I wanted to bring this up, Matt, because Halloween's canceled at the White House. And it's because Barack needs to use Joe for his Halloween costume himself. So no trick-or-treating allowed at the White House. And Barack
they'll all be at the Vineyard at Obama's place. Without
continuing to pull the strings as far as I'm concerned. All right, man, let's talk Michigan State before we get to price discovery.
Yeah, I mean, we're there. It's the eve of the intrastate rival. The Paul Bunyan Trophy is on the line tomorrow. And there's nobody predicting a blowout either way, which makes me think we could see a blowout either way. How's that? That is the constant fader of the masses. So nobody think there's a blowout? No, I was just going through, reading.
What? I think you're right. So it's 48-0, Michigan State and the undercovers.
Wow. Well, the under is for me because you got the over. So
I got the over. That's right. I double jeopardied myself.
Yeah. So I would not enjoy a 48-0 drubbing. Let me just say that, but. Everybody's predicting a close game. I think that's the natural prediction when you have two teams that hate each other playing at one team's home stadium, and half the state roots against and half the state roots for. So
I got to tell you, it's going to be a great environment there.
On the
I wish we could teleport
on the Red Cedar
to the banks of the Red Cedar. Thank you very much. All right, man, let's talk some prices. And this just to prime us. And this is shared by Ottavio Costa.
But let me say this: let me give you a little pick of the week. for you.
Yeah. Before we get to this, give me the pick of the week.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you got to take the Gophers -7 against Northwestern, and I think you got to take Baylor in the 2-team parlay, given 3.5 to the Texas Longhorns. You put those two together, and you got yourself a nice little 2-team parlay. $10, pay you 40. It's a pretty good bet. I like that.
Get you half a greens fees.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, the differential fundamental valuation between growth and value stocks is retesting the peak tech bubble levels that we saw in 2000. Matt, a picture is worth at least 78 words in today's day and age. But that is something that I will pay attention to. We talked about it yesterday. Some of these valuations are ridiculous. And when you think about a company like Microsoft, like that's a growth company with the valuation that they have.
Well, all I can say is I'll be watching it, but that fundamental stuff, again, you can't really trade off of it, but it's interesting. It's real interesting. And at some point they can say they were right. It might be 3 years when the S&P's at 10,000 because the algo has not been shut off. I mean, it's just on.
We got the end of the month, beginning of the month. So you're going to see 401k flows. I don't see how the market gets drubbed here, at least in the first couple of days next week. But we got a new week, a new month starting next week. And we got Meta now, Matt. We got Meta. Make everything Trump again. I'm pretty sure that's what they were talking about.
That is what it stands for. Make everything Trump again, Zuck.
Make everything Trump again. Facebook, now Meta, and they're trying to say that it's the metaverse. But we all know what Meta means. It means the metadata business model that they have used forever.
It's going to be even bigger.
Even bigger. More free information via you for them to sell. Great business model. Matt, let's look at Facebook because it's apparently a growth stock also.
Yeah, it's trading under $1 trillion after, losing $70, traded all the way down to 308 was the low. And I just brought up a long-term chart. We're in a pocket here. Like, it's hard to buy, but just because of the state of the world and the market, seems like it might be a good place. And we'll fractal in. I mean, the top of value, we're not even there yet, is still $270. And this again is, factoring in the March 20 sell-off, where we went from, basically 120, 127 all the way up here to 384. So a 3-bagger. So it went from, during the pandemic, went from 300 billion to 900 billion, and happy days for Zuck and make everything Trump again. Got to make sure that you use that. Don't say Meta, just say make everything Trump again, because that's what he's trying to do.
I got to tell you, because people still very triggered about El Traverente.
Oh yeah,
very, very triggered.
Which will make it even more fun. Anyways, this thing, again, shorter time frames. You kind of see here. I don't know. Maybe if you get over this 340 level, then they can go back and test. I don't love it. I don't like to buy it. I don't like to sell it. It's, to me,
you want to play patient here. You wouldn't mind buying it down at the higher value, longer term.
Yeah, but I also don't see it going to this 270 area, right? I just don't. I don't see it happening. But if it did, that might be an area 260 to 275 that I would be more interested in, because it's at that point you've got a year of people supporting you down here. So again, I shortened the time frame. We didn't go all the way back to March. It's only about a year and change that we're looking at here. So that would be an area. And, maybe into the end of the year, they can take it down there, as we are watching Zuck make everything Trump again. I don't know.
Well, that's going to be our new drinking word. Make everything Trump again. Trigger people. All right, Alec Baldwin next week, the number one trigger person. Matt, I don't know where else we go. Oh, you know what? I want to share let me share a couple of things. First of all, it's Friday, so we like to have a nice time we like to have a nice time all the time.
Yeah.
But for sure, I want to just all right, share. Man, I love this site. It's called Ritchie Brothers Gov Planet, and it's govplanet.com. because if there's going to be a civil war, we need to start arming ourselves, right? And my point is here is you can pick up a nice Humvee
4,800. Wow.
for a reasonable amount of money. I mean, I got just one highlighted here. Diesel, just looks awesome. Look at this thing. I'm not sure if that's bulletproof glass on the front end, but $4,800 starting bid for a Humvee. I don't know why I wanted to bring it up, but I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, let's. Well, the auction is Monday. Let's get on that. We'll buy one of those on Monday.
I would love to drive around Bend with that baby with the "Make Everything Trump Again" flag.
No, just with the Meta. Yeah, the Meta with that picture of Zuck. Meta.
All right. Make everything trippy again with the mushrooms. Hey, speaking of psilocybin, what happened to Compass? Let's look at Compass. Your recommendation was to take profits 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened.
Let's see what happened. It's gone higher.
That's all right, because sometimes you do that and it's the dumbest. I always talk about that.
Yeah.
Pray that it's the dumbest thing you ever did.
Yeah, no, it's continued. We're trading here at 42. I think it's approaching, if not, it's approaching a breakout. But you got to, I don't know, you got to get over 45. If you get over 45, it's going to go to 60. But again, that's why you can take some off and let the rest ride. But if you bought that thing down at $29-30, dude, that's a monster. It's a monster.
You know, I told you the other day, somebody called me with the Shiba coin. Like, if you don't take some risk off the table on a great trade, that's not trading. You're being an idiot.
I was listening to Kid Craddock this morning. Went out to get a coffee, and they were having people call in. This is where I know we're in trouble. They were they were doing scary crypto stories for Halloween today, and they were having people call in with their stories of how if they just would have left their money in Doge, their initial 2,000 would have been worth 800,000, and they're kicking themselves. And it's like, and then at the end, the guy who told the best story, they awarded him 200,000 Shiba. That's when I knew we were in trouble.
All right, man. We wanted to talk about, speaking of crypto, we're going to talk Ether Bitcoin. Let me bring it up. Ether Bitcoin. Because there's a little fight back now. We got a little fight back from the Ethereum world.
Yep.
But for me, it's this momentum level. All right. They've pinged it. This is the third time now. This closed below after they made the blow off double top, recent double top. They pinged it the next week. They fell away from it, and they came and pinged it again this week. 07, let's call it 072. Let's do some rounding, Matt. 072. If you get, crypto never sleeps, so this is going to trade through the weekend. If you can get a close above 072, probably want to be more weighted towards Ether than Bitcoin. It's pretty simple, and it's worked really well over time to pay attention to this cross chart. We keep going back to it as a floor trader and a spread trader forever. It's a great way to start thinking about diversification, is looking at the cross chart and paying attention to the cross chart and trading the cross chart. There's a lot of alpha to be gained in paying attention to the cross.
And Ether is making all-time highs today, along with everything else.
All right, man. One last thing, and then you can du jour whatever you want. But I wanted to point out this. In a crazy mixed up world, I love this tweet, and it's from Lazy M Bar Ranch, I believe from Alberta, a place where Canadians haven't lost their mind. And it says, pulled the kids from school early yesterday and took advantage of the great weather to move the South pairs home to meet up with the rest of the pairs. Nice to have them close to home and all back together again. But let's look at the scenery here. I mean, sing me a song, Matt. Home on the range. Look at these beautiful cattle. Alberta beef, baby, in the saddle. And when I saw this, I thought again, back to Gates yesterday, or the other day talking about we're all going to have to get used to tasting fake beef or fake meat. It just, when you drive across this country, and this just, I drove all the way to Ontario, north through Minnesota and North Dakota, and then on the way back through South Dakota, a little bit south. The carrying capacity of our grasslands is so ridiculous to think that we couldn't have 50, 70, 100 million more. Let's just put the buffalo back out there.
Right.
I mean, it's just crazy. The climate, it is so co-opted. And if you can't see that, you're not paying attention. Because then today also, there was an article that you shared, and I just want to go back and here's China with their protein production, right? 100,000 sows, climate friendly. But then you shared this one. And I saw it. I'm like, wait a second. What are they building a solar panel? And it's a floating solar farm. I don't know a lot, but I know that electricity and water in general, maybe they got it all figured out. But the whole basis of the article was like, they're not coming to the table with anything more, and they don't tell the truth. So why should we trust them?
Right.
I don't know. It's the geopolitics of it all, Matt.
Well, I'm gonna hop over on that pleasant subject that I don't really feel like getting into climate with you today.
So how about psilocybin?
No, I want to talk pro football, because last week we were 2-1.
We were 2-1 with the 10 plus bets, right?
The 10 plus bets, we're going to present them to you again here. We have the Rams minus 15.5 currently. So you take the Rams, you take the Bengals minus 11, and you also take, where's our third game? Oh, the Bills was up top here. The Bills are minus 14. You take those three games, you take your profits from last week, 2-1, and you lay the same bets, $10 on each one, $10, $5, whatever your thing. You could try a 3-team parlay, but that's going to pay you really well, but you got to win all three games. I'd just prefer to take all three outright again and, see what happens there. You could do the outright and the parlay, but the outright's 2-1 last week. Even if you go 1-2 this week, you're even. And we're going to keep with the strategy the rest of the year, because
we're going to keep track of it, Matt.
And NFL is impossible. So just keep with the double digit.
Wait a second. I don't know. I mean, I think you're onto something with the in-game betting as the line moves. And it happened again perfectly last night, right? The Rams started, or Arizona started out a 7-point favorite, right?
Yep. 6.5, maybe. Yeah.
So the Packer was getting 6.5. The Cardinals score first, and the line goes out to 12.
Right.
Like sitting down before the game, if it was Packers in 12, you'd be all over it. Except it violates our rule here.
Well,
but, the thought process is this: like
not a midday, not in mid game. It doesn't. We're not talking.
And I agree, because of course you don't sit down at the game thinking that Arizona isn't going to score, right?
Right.
And you don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that they might score first.
Right.
Right. So all of a sudden they score first. The game's a 12-point game.
Yeah.
It seemed like free money, and apparently it was.
It was. Win it, chicken dinner. Yeah, we didn't put the bet on until Arizona scored, and we got the 12. We're like, all right, we'll take the pack. And strangely enough, we could have ended up getting the double, by taking. Even though they lost, we had late in the third quarter, we could have taken Arizona plus 3.5. Remember?
Yeah, and you could have milled it. You would have won both ends of it.
You would have won both, even though they messed up that ending with the receiver turning the opposite way he was supposed to, because that pass was right to him if he turned the right way. So, that's the way it goes. But we got the one side right, but it's always fun. Like that would have been fun to win on both teams with the spread.
Hey, John used to tell us the middle was what they always looked for.
Right.
If you could get a good middle, just on the outright of the game as the
that's what I like about it. I mean, waiting for games to start to me is especially in the NFL is the only way to go. Like it's like you got to see, because as we were talking about yesterday, you've got two teams basically that somebody gets hurt, the next guy's stepping up and there's no drop off. I mean, these guys are freaking all amazing athletes. So just because you lose, JJ Watt yesterday, and who else were they? They were missing like a running back or something too. So they didn't skip a beat. They were, in that game, winning the game most of the game. And Rodgers had nobody. He had his old Randall Cobb. Whenever I hear Randall Cobb, I think of Tex Cobb. Remember that guy for like Dallas?
No, that was Tex Schramm.
Really? I thought there was like
the owner or coach.
I don't know. Randall Tex Cobb, I remember.
I don't know.
He was like a guy
maybe he was related to Ty Cobb.
Well, I don't know, but then this guy's isn't his name Randall Cobb too? And it just I don't know.
Speaking of Cobb, Matt, what's Corn doing?
Corn
on the Cobb.
Randall Tex Cobb is an American actor, martial artist, and former professional boxer. That's what he was in the heavyweights. That's where it came from. There you go. But he was a big dude, and he was like, he was a badass. And I remember Howard Cosell, getting into it with he and Howard used to like battle on the ABC network. I do remember that.
All right, Matt, let's segue because the Corn. See, that's how it works. Look at this Corn. Nice rally here. And on the week now, going to close back in up momentum. First time since back here, let's see, 1st of June. And look at this run in momentum on the weekly. Now, not quite there yet, but for sure in a better place. Anyway, that's the news.
We talked about that 5 level earlier this month. And, it was early in October. We said, buy this 5 level and put your stop 470, 480. And sure enough, this thing has gone up to 570 with a huge pocket coming here. If we close up in here, Bob, this thing could run easily another $1. So I wouldn't stay. I would, add to your position. If you bought down there at 5, I would add to it here, or if you want to wait for 540. Or buy some here and then double down at 540.
Or look at shorter time frames for pullbacks to buy.
Yeah. Shorter time frames, exactly. And but that looks really nice. It's had a really good week along with everything. Again, all assets are one, so everything rises together. But you can see it came to here Monday and it kind of battled around. You could have picked some up here and even at 528, 530, and bam, back to 570 at the end of the week. That's a nice one. It's been working out well. Beans also at 12, the 12 level held very nicely, and they're trading up here. They were even higher earlier in the week. They got up to about 1266. So you're kind of seeing a pullback here that I think is probably viable also when it comes to the beans, as long as kind of that 1220 range holds. Anywhere in here is a good buy. Looks to me.
All right, Matt. Quick one today. Quick one. Please join us at marketvitals.io. Please share and retweet the stream. Matt got in trouble yesterday. He got put in timeout on Twitter for being sarcastic. So, as always, if we offend you, we are sorry. But we will continue, I think, to be offensive to some, Matt. I think.
Why don't you read what I tweeted that got me put on the injured reserve list by Twitter?
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Of course I can find it, right?
By the Twitter police.
Find it. Because hold on a second. Hold on, there it is. What Matt said. I think that what Matt said was hold on a second. Why can't I see it? Matt said, I think if you think about it, we're so lucky. We got a COVID-19 gene therapy vaccine and 5G network rollout all in the same year, 2020.
That's what I wrote.
I mean,
Twitter said that violated their rules. Apparently.
You can't be sarcastic.
Can't be snarky.
Or thoughtful.
You can't be thoughtful or snarky. Although
I don't know, Matt.
That's all Twitter is snarky and snarky.
All right, listen, for sure, though, I don't see any reason to fade the stock market rally until you see some weakness Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
Well, Amazon and Apple both missed wildly, Bob, but
Market doesn't care.
Market doesn't care, and all the indices are green. Amazon is above where it opened today, although it's down 100. It's 100 above where it was at 5 o'clock yesterday when it was 32.55, but it's 33.50. But again, nothing has changed there. We're still in a bracket that we pointed out, and we're not going to break out still, so nothing's changed. It looks like it's like looking at the Russell. The Russell still hasn't made new highs. The NASDAQ, the Dow, the SPOs are all at all-time highs. The Russell continues to lag. So maybe we still have to wait for the Russell to get all four on board before we can finally, get a reversal. Maybe that's what it will take. I don't know. But literally the wind is at the back of the Fed. The algo continues to overpower everything. And, the bonds are right. We talked about it as we come to the end of the week. We got another, 2 hours left for the bonds to trade, and they were above the 161. They ticked above there, and then they sold off. They were down to 159s again last night, and they have rallied back here all day again. And they're pushing right up to that 160, in a quarter or 3/4 level again.
Bring it up, Matt, because we said that was an important level for the week.
We did. And again, it doesn't look like it's going to close over 161. And this is a longer term chart, but let me bring up a shorter just so we can look at this. And again, we got above here, and, we're right here. We're right at the 1620. So if we were to close here, right where we are, which they're trying, they're really it looks like they want to. Because then everybody can pile on alongside with Gartman, because Gartman made the bullish call on this on Tuesday. So
Gartman is immaterial to the facts. So yeah, I think if they close here, I don't know why they wouldn't go target 164.5 or so.
Right, and that's what we talked about. Now, big picture, does that really do much? No, and there's no reason for interest rates to be going lower. Again, nothing makes sense to me right now. Like, if anything, these things should be continued to be getting sold, but maybe the Chinese took a break. Maybe they're looking for higher prices to sell again, and that would be this, like you said, 164. Really, this thing is ultimately, it's got to get over 167 for it to really have a big base behind it. And so I think we're just kind of middling right now, and even though it may get you up to that 164 level, I'm not 164 to 167 is going to take a long time to work through. It doesn't just happen overnight with these bonds. It's a big market, but it's holding where it should have. We did not go and test the low that we had earlier in the year back in March. So maybe they won't, or maybe they'll start selling off, and that will, bring the market and the equities down too. Who knows? We don't know. I sure don't.
It certainly feels like everything's throttling down.
The momentum is left the building, but we just go up every day, because it's just like they take out, anybody that's got their stops 2 points above the old high, they go up, take those out, and then they reverse, and then they do it again. It's the inchworm bull again. This is what we were in prior to the September sell-off. So we're just right back to it. And it makes it, it makes it tough to swing.
Well, you can't swing trade if it ain't swinging.
You can't swing trade. It makes it tough. You got to wait for some, like you said, you got to wait for some chinks in the armor, for some breaks to happen. But there's a lot of things that just, that do make sense. Like Boeing's not going up. Why is Boeing not going up if the economy is on the turn? And it had a huge, rally. So I just look at that. I look at stocks like Boeing, and I can even bring that in here real quick, because it's at a juncture here where if it were to, break, this thing could fall, considerably. It's right here at 205 today. We did rally as high, and again, this is going back to March of last year. We got as high in March in the year that followed. We got up here to about 280, and now it's been just bleeding. So, we're sitting here at 205. So again, that's off $80, Bob, which is, again, 35, 40%. That's significant. So just keep that in
big
mind.
pocket, it looks like.
Yeah,
It's
and then there's
got
a
the
pocket.
double Gallagher long-term formation.
Right. Exactly. And it couldn't hold up there. So that tells me that, plane orders and all that, it's not really cranking, and people really aren't back traveling, maybe for the holidays shortly here and some things like that. But, when I look at stocks like this, I start to go, something's up. Something doesn't make sense. And
Well, the other thing tying into that,
by the way, just think about this again. Boeing has a market cap of 120 billion, and make everything Trump again, still has a market cap of 900 billion today. So the Meta is still 7x Boeing today.
Matt, back on the how about the news out of Denmark that cases are ripping back through the roof?
Yeah,
80 plus vaccinated, double jabbed. I mean, who's traveling the rest of this winter if that trajectory keeps on pace? Nobody's going anywhere.
Yeah, no, and they won't, and they won't. And you keep the fear up, people, will keep sucking from the teeth, and that's absolutely right. So, again, careful what you wish for. It's so funny. It's so ironic watching this Build Back Better be sold so hard when we're at all-time highs. Like, what's wrong, Joe? Why, how come you can't get the market down if you're building back better? Like, your whole narrative doesn't even make sense when everything is clicking. There's jobs galore, right? We'll find out again next week what the jobs look like, but they've stopped paying unemployment bonuses and all that. And people are slowly coming back to work, and there's supply issues, and there's this, there's that, and people still don't want to work. You're advertising that if you rush our border, why aren't Canadians coming for 450,000 breaking out? If Canadian sends their hockey kids over the border now, do they get 450,000 per person?
I don't know. Matt, I one question as we leave. Is it Build Back Better, Build Back Biden, or Build Back Barack? That's my question.
It's Barack Biden boners.
All right. You have a great weekend. Happy Halloween.
By the way, the 3.5 trillion has been cut in half, and they still are laughing it off. There's no way this thing's ever going to get done. It's still 2,500 pages. Did you see Pelosi yesterday talking about, how smart our president is, and he's read the whole thing? I'm like, he hasn't read 2.5 pages.
He can't read his driver's license.
He can't read his prompter. Give me a break.
All right. We got to go.
Got to go.
We got a hard break here from our sponsor. Our sponsor, by the way, Shrimp Mojo. Become a dealer. Street corner dealing. Available at Amazon.com. Just search for Shrimp Mojo. Thank you, Matt.
Have a good weekend, Bobby.
Right on.
I'll see you over here at 8:30 for bacon and eggs and Go Blue.
Right on, baby. Right on. Go.